I love recording an entire YouTube video and realizing that my computer is not recording. So, trial number 2. I found a great Facebook question. I was ready to go to bed and I was like, you know what? This is a great video. I gotta make this while it's on my mind. So the question is, anyone out there have advice and or pros, cons for creating regular video content for YouTube channels versus Instagram and Facebook business pages? So I happen to have a lot of experience in this. I have currently made about 140 videos in 138 days on YouTube, and I run about 50 different Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. So how do I know about all this? How do I know this? How can I help you with this? And ultimately, I actually have some data that I pulled up here. And now I don't post that much myself on Facebook and Instagram. It's just a platform that for me, it's not worth spending my time on, but that may be very well different for you. Now, there's a couple things to consider before I get into the analytics. Facebook and Instagram are very good for right now reactions. If you are looking for a quick reaction, if you are looking for somebody to go visit your website to sell a product in the now, they are great spots for you to go spend some time on. Now, here's the catch. If you're not actively doing it on a regular basis, when I say regular, I mean a daily basis, every single day, 7 days a week, you're probably missing the boat on that. Facebook content and Instagram content lasts on average for about 5 hours, and in that 5 hours, at about 2.5 hours in, you're about 75% of your likes and engagements you are going to have. Why is this? Because when you post on Facebook, they show your content out to a very small subset of people, and then they have to engage with that content. This is pretty much a similar algorithm everywhere, but on Facebook and Instagram, because there is such a constant influx of traffic and content, they have to make sure that they give kind of everybody the opportunity. Now, if you get a lot of engagement in that period, that content will then work for you for a couple hours after that. Could be 24, could be 48 hours after that, but typically after about the 24-48 hour period, it's going to die. I see this on every Instagram and Facebook account that we manage. So on YouTube, it's very, very different. It's actually kind of the opposite. The older it is, the better off it tends to do. Now, I've pulled up some data here that proves my case, and I'm not necessarily trying to prove anything. I don't have anything to prove, but I just came across this Facebook post. I said, wow, this is a great video. I need to make a video about this. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly, and you'll actually be able to see. I just did a quick Google search. How long does content last on Facebook? 5 hours. Now, Facebook also owns Instagram. It's very much so the same. You know, I could just Google it, Instagram, and that's not how you spell Instagram. But Instagram stories last 24 hours. That's not really the exact information that I was looking for here. Instagram. And it really lasts about 5 hours also. It might even be a little less on Instagram because there's just such a demand for content here. But other than that, if it's not highly engaged in the beginning, it just kind of dies. Now, that's not a bad thing, but once again, it is very good for calls to action. You could put up a couple posts and start to get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 clicks to your website, or however many, you get a small percentage of that. So if you have 1,000 followers, you might get 10 to 20 visits per post back to your website, right? And on average, you're really shooting for about a 10 to 20% engagement rate on your images. That's like the best you can do. Now, there are the rare exceptions that it does significantly better, and as you produce more content on those platforms, they typically work more in your favor. I just saw a friend of mine, she was at 10,000 followers probably about 6 months ago on Instagram, and now she's up to about 20,000 followers on Instagram. So kind of crazy if you really think about it, but a lot of her stuff is still sub 1,000 likes on all of her stuff with 20,000 followers, especially her new stuff. Where this is my analytics. Now, I'm just going off my YouTube analytics here, but this is my YouTube analytics. So this is the last 28 days, so the middle of June to almost the middle of July here. And you can see I've gotten 1.5 thousand views. I've gotten 82 hours of watch time, and this was almost at 100 at one point just before this. We had a little bit of a slow period this month. Obviously, summer's here, so less people are going to be looking to grow their business. They're out enjoying the sun and the beach. And 19 subscribers. But the really cool part is really this number right here, 126 people in the last 48 hours. Now, some of my best performing personal Instagram pictures get about 100 likes in about a 24 to 48 hour period, where once you stop posting that, it kind of then dies out a little bit. Once again, depending on what kind of content you're producing, where this is where I think it gets the craziest. If you look at this, right, The top 5 slots right here are all dominated by content that is over a year old, right? May 18, 2020, over a year, 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 over a year. Now we're back into this year, right? And then once again, over a year, and then this year, this year, this year. So the top 5 spots are fully reserved, and what is that? 6 out of the top 10 are fully reserved for old content older than 1 year, which is really kind of crazy to think about. But here's the difference. I've gotten that many views, right? And if we go into the advanced mode, you can actually see the data that we're kind of looking for, right? So over the last 28 days, we're just going to use June, so it's a fair comparison here, because I'm going to pull up my Google Analytics because I have really good data on June. You can see here in June of last month, right, June 2021, I got 1,600 views, 89 hours of watch time, and 21 new subscribers, 18,000 impressions, and then the impression click-through rate was 6.7%, which is great. Now, this is where it gets a little crazy. Now, I've pulled up this data on my website. I'm just using June because I did rebrand my website. If you want, go check it out, harrisonbarron.com, and it's a completely new website now. And the craziest part is if you actually look at this, you can see your referral traffic here. And Pinterest, which I really don't use anymore, Facebook, YouTube, right? So in the month of June, I only got 5 visitors from YouTube. But here's the difference. I took some time off, and if I can, I would go through my old stuff, but I do have customer information inside my YouTube channel. But there are 2 days that I took off in the last 140 days till now. The crazy part is even when I was not doing YouTube those days, I just happened to be driving, I was up in New York, as you guys probably saw in some of my videos. The weird part is I'm still getting views on the content, even though I'm not actively adding to it. So for me, I'm just trying to build a big enough snowball that it just continuously rolls down the hill. For other people, they like just that quick content. Now, if you're in this person's situation and you're like, hey, what do I make content for? My recommendation, and only if you can do this, right? If you can go the long term, I would say go YouTube. If you're like, hey, I really need money now, go with an aggressive social media strategy. But if you want to do both, and you're one of those people that loves to overachieve, make a YouTube video and then edit it down for 2 or 3 pieces of video content for Facebook and Instagram. So most of my videos are about 10 to 15 minutes long on my YouTube channel. Most of my videos on YouTube are about 10 to 15 minutes long. This video might be a little bit shorter because I was about to head to bed, and then I saw this, I said, I have to make a video about this because I have a lot of experience in this. But for the most part, you could take a 10 or 15 minute video and break it up into 2 or 3 different segments and then post those out on social media and then have that content work for you twice over. This is going to add significantly to your editing time if you choose to edit, and you have to be capable of doing the editing. But if you go and choose to do that, you will then be able to kind of hit both. Now, you might be thinking, well, Harrison, most of you get a bunch of traffic from Facebook and a lot from YouTube, right? But most of it is actually from Facebook. If you look at the top 3 slots, you got 9, 6, and 5. So you're talking about 15 clicks in that month from Facebook alone. Now, I just happen to have a lot of content on my on my website, where a lot of people are going to be linking to it. I already have an article made, so I can just drop that in for somebody's post, and then it answers their question. Great. So that's how that works. A lot of my videos on YouTube, I don't really promote much. I may go through Facebook and I see like a video. Once again, I may go through Facebook and see a video or see a question and then answer it with that video, in which case, then yes, it would come back to my YouTube channel and then possibly right from there to my website. But other than that, that's kind of what I see and how I expect it. Now, the cool part is once again, this channel is working for me passively for the next years to come, right? Like you saw, a lot of my content has been over 1 year old, which is crazy to think about, right? And even if you go through it, it really takes a little while to start getting to the 2021 area. And why is it not showing up here? It's just giving me a hard time. But that's the craziest part about it, is a lot of my content is old. It's nothing new, and people are still engaging with it. And this is why I tell people, make content. You're just building up that snowball, and then when there's going to be a time down the road, right, in the fall or winter, when I'm like, oh, you know what, I can't do YouTube every single day anymore, I'll lower it down, but my content is still going to be working for me. Or heck, if I go away on vacation, that's 5 extra days of that content working for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Unlike Facebook and Instagram, if you stop posting on there, it's pretty much dead 48 hours later the max. So this is something for you to keep in mind. Once again, Facebook and Instagram is going to be a much faster engagement. I can get way more clicks out of that versus the flip side of things, where if you have YouTube, you will be able to just garnish YouTube views and traffic for years and years and years to come, and it just consistently snowballs. Because like you just saw, right, most of my content is over a year old, so I've been making 120 videos in 120 days. That's 120 videos next year that are going to be getting tons and tons of traffic. So I hope this video helps. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, little notification bell. I'll see you guys later.